Hi everyone, this is Andrew from Hot Tub Focus, and today we're going to be talking about how long do inflatable hot tubs last? Now, the short answer to that is well, they can last up to 5 years or even a little bit beyond 5 years. However, some users are reporting that they're only lasting for a month or two, but the common consensus seems to be that they last between 2 and 3 years. Now, obviously, it's not as simple as that, and results will vary according to a number of things. There's a couple of big problems with these hot tubs. For a start, they are absolutely fantastic, and if you read the reviews online, I've read a lot on Amazon and a lot on Trustpilot. People are absolutely delighted with them. They love them. I mean, when they're working in terms of value for money and pleasure per buck or per pound, depending on where you're buying it, they are great. You're spending what, $300, 350 quid, something like that on a hot tub that might last you a couple of years. And if you use it on a daily basis, there's a lot of pleasure to be had for that, and they are really good value for money. However, the issue seems to be that well, it's twofold. The first one is that they are movable and they are portable, and that obviously means that they get a lot of sort of physical wear and tear. And to make them movable and portable, it's the inflatable bits that's the real problem. Anything that's inflatable is going to be prone to puncturing and damaging, and that's the issue. The other thing is that clearly they're made to a budget. There's no two ways about it. They're a mass marketed. Built to a specification product, and for them to stay at a reasonable price, an affordable price, to differentiate them from the more fixed hard shell alternative, they have to be at a certain price. But to make them at a certain price, then there has to be some issue in terms of manufacturing quality and costings and stuff to make it actually work for the manufacturer as well. The main problems seem to be with the shells or with the liners, and these do puncture. There's no two ways about it, as you would expect. And that, having read a lot about this, that seems to be the main issue. Most people are finding that the liner doesn't last, depending on the amount of wear and tear. There's also some sort of secondary issues with the pumps and heaters, which generally tend to be an all-in-one unit on these types of spas, and some question about unreliability on those. But they seem to be that seems to be a little bit less than the actual liners themselves. So I think, generally speaking, the pump or the hardware part of it, you could expect to outlast the shell or the actual inflatable body. So, what are the other things that affect it? Well, how long could you expect one that you're looking for to last for? Well, the first thing to do is to look at the warranty that the manufacturer is offering. That will give you an idea of what they expect it to last for. So if you've got a warranty for the inflatable part for a year, the manufacturer would confidently expect that for a year's use, you wouldn't have any problems. There's this sort of common knowledge that if you multiply that by 3 or 4, that's what you should sort of get, which I don't necessarily think is necessarily true with something that's sort of disposable, like an inflatable part of the hot tub. I would take that a bit more to heart with the hardware part of it, with the pump and the heater. So if the pump and the heater tends to be an 18-month warranty on a lot of these, so they should last well into 5 or 6 years, something like that, theoretically at least. So look at the warranty, see what the manufacturer is offering, and it gives you an idea of their confidence in their product. Obviously, it will depend on how much the hot tub is used as well. A hard shell hot tub, it doesn't really make any difference how many hours and how many days you're in it out of the year. It won't really wear out, obviously. With an inflatable hot tub, it will do, and the amount of wear and tear on the liner will depend on how often you use it. So if you're in it every single day of the year, it's likely to last less time than one where you're in it, say, twice a week, for example. Also, it's how careful you are about looking after the liner to avoid puncturing it, really. Trying to avoid putting things like glass on it, broken glass that if it breaks and goes in the hot tub would be a nightmare. Cats with claws walking on it, dogs jumping in your hot tub. Even stuff sort of brought in on your feet, like sand and dirt and things, just swilling around in the bottom of the hot tub, can potentially wear the liner at the bottom. So that's a very variable factor depending on wear and tear. and how you actually use it. When you roll it up, how careful are you? Are you dragging the thing around the garden along the floor to get it from one place to another? You know, sort of common sense usage of something that's inflatable and relatively delicate. Its length of life will also depend on how clean you keep it, so how well you keep the water. Dirty water will create sort of dirt on the liner, bacteria build up on the liner. It's not great for it. If you're trying to scrub it off, it's going to wear the liner as well. It's all a factor to bear in mind when you're thinking about wear and tear. Also, probably what you wouldn't necessarily think about is also the weather and the location of where an inflatable hot tub is. If it's in freezing cold conditions a lot of the time, and it's not switched on, then inevitably the fabric of the PVC of the liner is going to crack. It's going to become more brittle. It's just things like that don't work well in sub-zero temperatures, for example. Likewise, if you have it in direct heat all the day and direct sunshine all day, you know what it's like when you put something in the sun. It fades, it melts, it makes it harder when it's a rubbery PVC compound to sort of hang on to its seams and hang on to the joints. If it's in really searing heat and freezing cold and alternating between the two, it does put on a real strain on that type of material. So how to make it last longer then? Well, sign up for the warranty is the first thing. It won't make it last longer, but if you do have any problems, then once you're signed up for the warranty and you've registered your product, you have the proper channels to go to the manufacturer and get things fixed and get problems put right if it's within the warranty period. As I've talked about a moment ago, try and handle the hot tub really carefully to avoid the puncture risk. So avoiding pets in it if you can do, things on your feet, not dragging the thing around, not putting sharp objects in it, near it. Also, you need to be very careful about what the surface that you put the hot tub on as well. If you think about the amount of water pressure pushing down onto the base of the hot tub, if it's on sharp stones or there's anything protruding or pushing up on the base, it'll be under a lot of pressure and the chances are it will puncture at some point down there. You can buy liners to put on the base or on the floor. A flat patio is brilliant, something like that. Grass, if you haven't got it on there permanently. Anything that's level and not sharp. So that needs some careful thought to hopefully increase the longevity of the base of the hot tub. Also to position it carefully as well, just in terms of the weather. Try and go for a fairly neutral temperature. If it can be in the shade, if you're in a hot climate, that's good. If you are in a cold climate and you're going to keep it out all winter, keep it switched on, because that will keep it obviously makes it so that you can use it all the time, which is great. But it also will keep the liner at a relatively stable temperature and hopefully avoid the pressure of cracking and the brittleness that being in a really, really cold climate can bring on. Also good to think about putting it away for the winter as well. If you know you're not going to use it, it's not a great idea to leave a hot tub inflated over the winter. It's just not going to cope particularly well. It will get really, really cold. The other thing with these hot tubs is that you can obviously buy replacement liners. So you might want to factor in, if you're thinking of keeping it for 3, 4, 5 years, you might want to factor in the cost of a new liner. Halfway through that. The pump and the mechanics are likely to still be okay, but you might need to replace the liner, and you can buy these for I think roughly half the price of the new hot tub from most of the manufacturers. And if you sort of view that as being a consumable, I think, rather than it being, oh, I have to buy a new hot tub, hang on to the pump and buy a new liner. Hanging onto the pump and buying a new liner might be a really good way of thinking financially in terms of how long it would last for and whether it's worth it in the long term for you. Okay, well, I hope that's been really helpful and maybe helps you with your decision about whether to buy an inflatable hot tub or not. You can find out more information about how long inflatable hot tubs last by clicking on the link at the bottom of the video here, which will take you to my website, Hot Tub Focus, and there's a much more detailed blog post covering all of these things that we've just talked about how long inflatable hot tubs last, and you can read it to your heart's content. Thanks very much. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.